Good evening, Mr. Blakely, Mrs. Snyder, Mrs. Lyon, faculty, parents, and students, welcome to the 2021 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the faculty of our school for successfully completing their candidacy and are being inducted as new members of our NHS chapter. For current members and those former members who may be among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence you two are charged with maintaining as members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. Our chapter is proud to be inducting new members again this year. Today's ceremony indicates the continuing emphasis on excellence that we represent for our school and community. Throughout the year, members of our chapter serve as role models for other students. In addition to the strong academic records, which establish the eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations, and we serve our school and community through many activities. This year, our chapter has been very busy. They successfully ran 2 school spirit fundraisers. They've completed an intensive school service project offering to improve the main entrance by replacing damaged and aged ceiling tiles with those designed to boast our district's organizations, athletics, and departments. They also organized, donated supplies, and volunteered their time to decorate the Stoneboro Community Park for Easter. We also eagerly anticipate our upcoming Red Out charity event, raising funds and awareness for the American Heart Association. We are proud of this record of accomplishment and welcome these new members who bring new energy in support of continuing our work of NHS members. And now allow me to introduce our Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. Julie Lyon.
On behalf of Dr. Hogue and myself, I welcome you this evening to this very special event. We're very proud of the students that run and are in our National Honor Society and that will be inducted this evening. We know that they stand for high ideals in service, in scholarship, in leadership and character. We're very proud of each of them. We welcome you here this evening for this honored ceremony that started in 1921 in Pittsburgh and then spread across the United States and other areas. Welcome.
It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Lakeview chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve as standards for the society. Members of the chapter will now review these qualities for the candidates. We begin with scholarship.
It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Lakeview chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve standards for the society. Members of the chapter will now review these qualities for the candidates. We begin with scholarship. Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and studying, knowing that the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life, which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
My office is service. Service can be established in the routine of the day's work where many opportunities arise to help others both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or public recognition. It's a quality we seek in our membership and promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow. Leadership.
Leadership. Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking initiative in the classroom and in school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed, thus to lead is a meaningful and substantive charge to each of our members. Character. Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from others. It creates for each of us our individuality and goodness. It is that without which no one can respect oneself nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life and once developed grows steadily within. Character is achieved and not received. It is a product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is a problem of self-control. We must be in the reality with what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to be seen. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character.
It is these four pillars that strike a chord within our school and community at large. And it is on this note of character that I continue our ceremony. My own high school proscenium was adorned with the anonymous quote, "Character is the first aim of education." It resonated with me as a student and has continued to resound its importance in my years as an educator. Should you walk into my classroom, you will find it on my walls today. It seems no less important or surprising then that I have stepped into the role of advisor of this organization, which heralds the importance of one's character. Nor should I have been surprised when the 2020 inductees impressed me time and again with their resilience and exemplary character. From the time of their acceptance, these students have embraced the ever-changing norm by insisting on finding ways to make our chapter successful and involved in new and in many ways never before seen activities, promoting pride in both our school and community. I speak with great sincerity when I say that I am proud of these students and what they have set forth to do and accomplish this year. Though officially inducted last spring, the 2020 members opted to receive their tokens of membership along with the newly inducted peers this year. At this time, will the 2020 inductees please rise and step forward onto the stage as your name is called to receive your tokens of membership. We will begin with our seniors. Kendall Crocker. Kennedy DeMarsh. Isaac DeVault. Julia Gadsby. Anthony Grimm, Emma Heckman, Allison Ibbs, Abigail Sefton, Gabrielle Smeltzer, Dakota Snyder, Danielle Sontheimer, Melena Vaughn, and Sierra Williams. And now our juniors, Josie Gadsby, Reese Gadsby, Lydia Heckman, Leah Hostetler, Destiny Love, Michaela Montgomery, Amber Sefton, Melody Giletto, Cody Sturgeon, Hannah Taylor, and Carter Williams.
At this time, will the new 2021 inductees please rise, raise your right hand, and repeat the pledge? The audience can follow the text as printed in your program. Please join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands, and will maintain and encourage the high standards of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. Thank you. You may be seated. And now, as your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your tokens of membership. Mara Barrick. Regan Boer. Madison Emmert. Abigail Mellon. Taylor McCain. Madison Miller. Olivia Slater. Carly Amon. Jade Bomer. Madison Moody. Lauren Oliver. Elena Peltonen. Zoe Prober. Marissa Breither. Kelsey Seddon. Susie Shuttler. And now, please welcome our faculty keynote speaker, Mr. Jason Sample, who will offer his remarks to our members.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, parents and guardians, administration, fellow faculty and staff members, and most importantly, good evening and welcome to the inductees to the Lakeview chapter of the National Honor Society. I am honored to speak tonight to these incredible students that are seated before you. So, what probably won't come as much of a surprise, I'm going to try and do things a little bit differently. I have two speeches prepared tonight, and both of them have to do with making choices. So I thought it might be nice to start with a choice for the inductees. You get to pick. You want to hear speech number 1 or speech number 2? Now, hold on, easy. I got to give you some background information, something that might help you make your decision. So here's a few pieces of information that might help. Number 1, one of these speeches is memorized. The other is not. One of these speeches is longer than the other one. One of these speeches has a more positive tone. The other is going to be a bit more challenging. And I'll give you the names of the two speeches. One's called All the Small Things, and the other is A Brave New World. Number 1 or number 2? All those in favor of number 1, raise your hand. This is just the inductees, please. It's their decision. Number 1, raise your hand. Number 2, raise your hand. All right, here we go. Two Adams walk into a bar. Now, wait a second. Don't finish that joke on your own. You know you want to. You want to try and figure out where I'm going to go, but very few people know that. Some of the adults in the room might know me well enough to know that this joke could end on the borderline of being inappropriate. But I'm not talking to the adults in the room. I'm going to talk to these fine students in front of me, and all of them will tell you that Mr. Sample would never do anything that even remotely borders on inappropriate. So with that, the first atom looks at the second atom and says, I think I lost an electron. The second one says, are you sure? And the first atom responds, yes, I'm positive. See, not even remotely inappropriate. Now, just like that first atom, my intention this evening is to keep things positive. And so, once again, Mr. Sample is going to correct your poor decision making, to lead you in the right direction and change your answer to speech number 1. I didn't have 2 speeches prepared. If you make me do speech 2, it will be very brave because I don't have anything, and it will be memorized because I don't have anything written down for it. So I wasn't lying with my pieces of information. I have a colleague here at Lakeview High School that once told me if we could just take care of all the little things, the big things would fall into place. He and I have some very different views on many aspects of life, but on this point, he and I have a unique similarity. You may even say we agree, but just because we agree on something doesn't mean it's going to look the same to everyone else. Remember, I said we have a unique similarity. See, for my colleague, focusing on the little things means strict adherence to the rules, even the smallest, most trivial of rules, because if we can adhere to the small things, then the big things will fall into place. Make no mistake, I agree. This sounds very sensible to me. But I'm not going to talk about those small things this evening. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some other small things that I believe, if properly taken care of, can make you a happier and healthier you. And in the end, will lead to a lot of big things falling into place. Many of the students being inducted this evening have had me as a chemistry teacher. Some of them have had multiple years of me as a chemistry teacher. And over the past few years, I've started to spend a little time each year showing motivational videos. They focus on ways that you can better yourself without focusing on the go to school and get an education part. Some of you may remember Les Brown, who told you, you gotta be hungry. Some of you may remember the Army general that told you you need to start each day by making your bed, because then you have successfully completed the very first task of the day. My personal favorite speaker that I've shown to my students in my room is the CEO of a company called Life is Good. His name's Burt Jacobs. Burt's story is an amazing story of success that he attributes to the power of positivity, the power of a positive mental outlook and a lot of hard work have propelled Burt and his brother from selling t-shirts out of their minivan to the founders and CEOs of a multi-million-dollar company. I believe there are some little things that we can do that will help us maintain that positive mental outlook that is so important to success. And so I want to give you 3 little things that I think you can take with you to help you become not only successful, because we all know you're going to be successful, but also happy, which in a lot of cases is far more important than just being successful. Number 1, don't always assume the bad. I know you've already been told not to assume because it makes an ass out of you and me. We all know this. We've been told it many, many times. Yet we continue to do it. In the day and age of technology that we live in, we have become a society that assumes a lot. We assume we know the tone of a particular text message or email that was written. We assume that someone is mad at us or ignoring us if they don't respond to our messages right away. We assume that someone is good or bad based solely on the way they look. It's nearly impossible to stop this, so here's what I propose. I propose you have a choice. You can choose to assume the bad. They were being mean or sarcastic when they sent that text. They're obviously ignoring me. I know they have their phone. They always have their phone. Or that person looks different than I do, so they got to be bad. Or we can choose not to assume. Text messages and emails have no way of expressing tone. So until you talk to the person that sent it, don't assume that they're upset. Don't assume that they're being mean until you know for sure. And then you don't have to worry about it until that point. We've all left our phones somewhere a time or two, left home without them. I did it last night. I went to a bonfire and didn't take my phone. If anyone had tried to call or text me last night, they could have assumed that I was ignoring them, being mean, being rude. I wasn't. I didn't have my phone. I couldn't ignore anyone. Don't assume the bad. Number 2, forgive the little things often. Now remember, I'm talking about the little things here, right? So I'm talking about little interactions with people that you may or may not even know. Here's a scenario that might help illustrate this. You're driving home tonight after Mr. Sample finally finishes his speech. And on the way, someone coming towards you has their bright lights on. Now, rhetorically, I want you to answer this question. What goes through your mind in that moment? Are you mad at that person, sarcastically yelling at them about their nice bright lights and your choice words and assumption that they did it on purpose and are now the worst driver in the world? Are you concerned for them, or even yourself more so, that maybe they are impaired and don't have the wherewithal to change their lights? Are you thinking that it's probably some pesky teen that's texting while they're driving? Now, before we finish that scenario, I want you to reverse it for a second. Put yourself in that situation and you have forgotten to turn off your bright lights going towards someone. How are you typically acting in that scenario? If you're anything like me, I'm apologizing to the driver as if they can hear me, and loud enough that everyone else in the car can hear me, because I really didn't mean to do it. I feel bad. And I assume, I know, don't make assumptions, but I think that most of us in this room are probably the apologizing type when that happens. So if we all feel bad when we do it, why are we so quick to assume that that person meant to do it and is some sort of terrible person every time it happens? They didn't. Simple fact is, people don't purposely try to wrong you. So forgive the little things, forgive often. Choose the good, that's number 3. I saved this one for last because it's probably the hardest, but it's also, I think, the most important. I mentioned Burt Jacobs earlier, the CEO of Life is Good. And in the video that I share in my classroom, he tells a story of how his mother helped him set out with this positive mental outlook at a very early age. He said every night when they sat down to eat dinner together, she would start the conversation with this simple statement: tell me something good that happened today. Sounds like such a simple little statement, but there's one powerful word in that statement. Many of us as parents have probably sat down at the dinner table and said to our kids, how was your day? Tell me what happened at school today. And invariably, many times, our answers, many of our kids' answers, focus on their struggles, focus on something that happened that made them angry or hurt, or focus on something that someone else did that got them in trouble. But by placing that one little word in that conversation, we change the entire focus. I'm not saying we don't talk about the bad or the ugly. I'm saying if we focus on the good first, it tends to make the bad not seem quite so bad. It tends to make the difficult seem just a little easier. It tends to make the hurt not hurt so bad. We take this concept and apply it to many different aspects of our life. I mentioned that I left home to sit at a bonfire last night and forgot my cell phone. I didn't realize it until I was already at the fire. I had 2 choices. I could be mad, I could pout, I could be upset, I could get down on myself for forgetting something that I never forget. Or I could choose a new adventure. I could embrace the adventure of facing the world without my safety net. I chose to dig into the people I was with, to listen to them, to talk to them, to interact with them in place of my phone. It was an adventure that I was ready to take, but first I had to choose the good. I had to focus on this situation as something positive instead of living in the negative reality that I could not play spider solitaire for the next 4 to 5 hours. I chose the good, and I hope you will too. The little things, they're all around us. Every decision we make, both big and small, give us the opportunity to choose positivity, to choose good. Make each day a good day. After all, it's your choice. Thank you.
I would like to thank our officers, Danny Sontheimer, Cody Sturgeon, Kennedy DeMarsh, and Abigail Sefton, and the members of the Induction Ceremony Committee for their hard work, with an especially big thanks to Sierra Williams for compiling our slideshow and assisting me in preparing and organizing this year's ceremony. Please join me in thanking them all with a round of applause. Rodriguez, though he is not here this evening. He was up and down and in and out for the past week trying to teach me how to run a recorded live stream. So I hope it worked. I hope those of you that are home watching have been able to enjoy this right along with us. And I so very much appreciate your all coming and obliging this in-person moment. This is an incredible, incredible moment for these students, and I look forward to what we're going to do in the upcoming years. Thank you all for attending the National Honor Society induction ceremony. In just a moment, I'm going to ask all of the members to stand in front of the stage for a series of pictures. But before doing so, please join me once again in congratulating all of our National Honor Society members. Thank you for coming.